Many of the software developers I talk to are not actively using tests in their projects. In many cases, if they even have tests, the quality is low, or the test is really shallow and not really testing the functionality it should be testing. When we take the discussion a bit further, most people are aware that tests are a good thing, that tests will help actually facilitate refactoring and help them maintain the quality of the product in the long run. The difficulty is usually not whether or not tests are a good idea when we talk about quality, but usually more on, will it actually help me now, or will the shortcuts that I take by not having tests hit me in the future? And usually that future is deemed to be so far away that it's not relevant to spend time on tests. So why is it that TDD or tests in general is a good investment? So if we look at a diagram, and we have at the vertical axis we have cost of change, and on the other axis we have time. So if we look at a standard software project that are not using tests, then we'll start off with a blank screen, and our cost of change will be pretty low. It will have a more or less flat line, so we are able to implement changes really cheap. The problem is that as we have a larger and larger code base, we will start to get fearful, because we don't have test coverage to signal that the changes we make are okay and are not breaking anything. So we start doing workarounds on different parts of the code, because workarounds seem lower risks than changing the actual code, but that creates a death spiral where we continue to make the code more difficult to change and causing us to slow down. So what will happen is that the cost of change will start increasing. So we'll get a curve that looks kind of like this, and eventually the amount of or the cost of doing a change will become prohibitively high and actually cause the project to grind to a halt. If we compare that to running a project in a TDD way, we start at the same place, and now we also have to incur the cost of doing tests together with actually implementing the feature. So initially the curve will be steeper. So it is more expensive to implement TDD in the start. But now comes the big difference, and that is, when we do TDD, we have a test harness to signal that whatever changes we are doing are not actually breaking anything. So instead of causing the cost of change to rise, the cost of change will kind of flatten instead. We'll have a curve that looks more like this. The system is still becoming more and more complex over time as it grows, but we are able to control the complexity in a better way, so we don't have the same explosion in cost of change as if we didn't have test cases. So we have a more flattened curve. Usually when I talk to people, they don't disagree with this outlook. What we usually disagree with is, when is this cutoff point? When is it that building a system using tests are cheaper than building a system without tests? And what I usually hear is that that's the far future. It's years away before we hit this point. But in my experience, it's actually much sooner. It's usually within a few weeks. So if you're running Scrum, I would say 1 to 2 sprints. By that time, you will have a cost of change where you will start seeing the benefit. So it's actually that soon.